r/AskReddit asks, what restaurant do you refuse to eat at and why? My dad placed a family boycott on Chili's because they had terrible service once and refused our never-used gift cards. About 15 or so years later, my dad was forced into going to Chili's while on a business trip and put an end to the boycott. Then he spilled ketchup on his pants and announced the boycott was back on. In my 22 years, I think I've been to Chili's 3 times, and there is one down the road from me. The boycott was back on. Your pops is a funny man. Any self-serve buffet. Kids are nasty and not all parents watch their kids. Saw a kid lick a serving spoon and put it back. Glad I caught it, but imagine how often it isn't caught. Not just buffets. I was at a fancy place that had sugar cubes in bowls on the table. Saw a family with a 3 to 5-year-old next to me who was sucking the cubes for a minute and putting them back. He clearly had a cold, snot down his face, and the parents were completely ignoring him. I stared in horror for several minutes and then stopped my family from using the sugar in requested packets from then onwards. Not any in particular, but there was one case worthy of bringing up. Was on the road from the airport to our lodgings in Jacksonville area. Wife wanted to eat, so we saw a Denny's and stopped. I went into the bathroom to freshen up. While doing my business, I noticed the 2 stalls were occupied. No big deal, I finish up just as the one guy leaves. In the mirror I see him. With a cook's apron on. Didn't stop to wash his hands. I got out and immediately got my wife to leave with me. That was also the plot of a Seinfeld episode. Golden Coral. We've got a family joke where if someone recommends a restaurant, we wait until later in the conversation and ask if they like Golden Coral. If they say yes, we never try the place they recommended. Whenever I go to Golden Coral, it's always set to a cold temperature where I'm shaking from like the core of my body and get sick. It's so weird, it's like I'm allergic to them or something. Nandos. Ever since pretty much every local Asian takeaway started selling peri-peri chickens. So many around now at half the price Nandos are. I've been well aware of the hype around Nandos, but until last year had never been. I went 3 times, every time with friends, and every time found myself wondering what the fuck everyone was going on about. It was bog standard chicken, lukewarm cheap mash, overcooked sweet corn. And for a surprisingly large amount of money given in the portion sizes. I really don't understand the popularity. There is a local Mediterranean all-you-can-eat place that I have never eaten at, and refused to try, but not for the reason you probably think. It was in a weirdly dingy, broken-down building that never has anybody parked out front and has almost never had anybody in it. This place is surrounded on all sides by significantly nicer restaurants and businesses, which just makes it stand out even more. Here's the real kicker for why I don't go in. This place is near where I work, so I have literally seen it every day. In the 7 years I've known of its existence, almost every restaurant around it has folded and gone out of business at least once before coming back as something else. Yet this place has somehow survived despite having no obvious signs of doing business. I believe it's a money laundering front. My suspicions have doubled since last year when the building they were in got suddenly an upgrade and renovated the building to be much nicer than every building around it. Again, this is at a place where I think I have maybe seen a dozen people parked outside of, ever. Applebee's. My grandparents used to force our whole family to go there at every family get-together. It's just overpriced TV dinners. Half the menu isn't even edible, a quesadilla burger makes no sense, you can't even hold it. Damn millennials. Why don't you eat at our shitty chain restaurants? Golden Coral, possibly the grossest and saddest restaurant I ever ate at. Not to mention the prices were astronomical for such subpar food. My grandfather was known for overstatement. If he enjoyed something, it was the greatest thing ever. If someone was intelligent, they were the smartest person ever. You get the idea. So one day, He was telling me about this restaurant in town that he and his wife had tried, and it had the best food ever. I asked where, expecting that maybe it was a new joint that even if it wasn't the best, was probably worth checking out. His answer: Golden Coral. Okay, Grandpa. That was one recommendation of his I didn't take. In Canada, any national pizza chain if I can help it. Ingredient quality just sucks balls when you need distribution like that. It's okay, you can say Boston Pizza out loud. Tim Hortons. Every single time I went it was a letdown. The food quality has been declining for years and their coffee tastes like it's been pumped right out of the sewers. Also, they treat their employees like absolute shit and their franchise owners have been known to throw childish tantrums over the slightest wage increases. As a Canadian, Tim Hortons used to be something to be happy about. Now it's a fucking national embarrassment. Most, not all I'd argue, food is cardboard crap. And the coffee is just disgusting. It's completely watered down and gives you stomach cramps or worse. For quick coffee, I switched to McDonald's, which is far superior and better in quality in every way. People sometimes question how McDonald's coffee is better when I tell them, but when they try it they agree it's way better. KFC. Every time I go there, I get sick. The worst about KFC is they're all privately owned, I believe, so you can see a $3 ad on TV and get down to your local KFC and it's actually like $5. And they won't honor the commercial. Stupid. Select locations means it's fucking rare you'll find one that'll do it, but since at least one location does, we'll advertise it. Subway. I know it's probably perfectly fine, but the lighting and the layout make it look so dirty and unhygienic. The kind of dull lighting with yellowing floors. Ugh. The meat is bland. They are accused of cutting turkey with soy and the other meats with turkey which is cut with soy. And on top of that they spread 3 slices of meat out over a loaf of bread and it's just depressing. Panera. Fuck that place. The food is subpar, it's all obviously frozen. It's comically overpriced for what you get, and it's absolutely not healthy. You can get a better tasting, healthier, and cheaper meal at McDonald's. Then they have the gall to ask me to clean my own dishes, after paying real restaurant prices. Fuck that. You want to pretend to be a real restaurant and not fast food, then you clean the tables. I genuinely do not understand the hype. I used to love their turkey sandwich with a burger-sized pile of turkey in it and some kind of zesty mayonnaise sauce on it, I forget the name, and I recently got it again after a couple years, and it had almost zero turkey on it. It was like all bread, lettuce, and sauce, with like a lunch meat slice of turkey in it. And it was like $10 for it and some chips. Ruby Tuesday. We used to go to one near our home pretty regularly, but they started getting our orders more wrong than right. And when they returned with the correct order, it was usually inedible from too much salt or it was a charcoal brick. The last time we went and those shenanigans happened, they gave us a free dessert as an apology. But that free dessert was fresh from the back of the freezer with a side of freezer burn. We almost gave Ruby Tuesday another chance and were going to go to a different location, but the next closest one had become a Chick-fil-A. You know what I don't see here so far? Waffle House. Went to one at 2 a.m. the other day for the first time ever because we were out of state. Shit's delicious. The crazy shit you see, but it's worth it to me. Waffle houses are like Russian roulette. Will you have a nice peaceful meal? Will there be a shooting? Will a crackhead charge in with a knife and frantically masturbate? Place your bets. That being said, I always go to Waffle House whenever I'm in North Carolina. A local seafood place called Pacifica. Why? Because I had to clean the filthy biohazard called their kitchens before. Couldn't even stomach the smell of seafood, something I like, for 3 or 4 years after that one weekend job. Clearly none of you have had the pleasure of eating at Perkins. I don't blame you because I never would have set foot in there if not for my wife's family forcing it upon us. I had the steak and peppers skillet, which is served on a cast iron skillet. Hilariously, the cast iron is for show only. It wasn't even hot to touch. Clearly they had microwaved the garbage food and thrown it on the skillet. My wife had the salmon, and I swear that TV dinner salmon would be better. Just terrible garbage food. East Side Mario's, they took a salad away as we were eating it. Told us it had been recalled because of E. coli, as I was chewing a mouthful. I'm curious what you'd think they should have done if they discovered that information after serving you the salad. Red Lobster. When I was younger, their food was so good. Ate there a year or two ago and the quality and service has really gone downhill. Buffalo Wild Wings. People go crazy saying how good their wings and sauces are. No thank you, I can make better wings in my air fryer at home. Domino's because it gets me sick. I love how it tastes but my body does not. Oh my god, I thought it was just me. Every time I eat their pizza I stay up all night with stomach cramps, vomiting or dry heaving. I thought it's from the cheese, maybe I'm becoming lactose intolerant? But it seems to only be Domino's. Burger King. When I tried it the first time, I understood why Robert Downey Jr. said it was so disgusting. It was actually really good in the 80s. They are disgusting now. Restaurant? Applebee's. I know that a lot of chains probably do the same thing, and it is probably unfair to single just one of them out, but even in the group of restaurants that microwave things, Applebee's just seems to be the worst tasting of the group. Honorable mention? Starbucks. Have never set foot in one, never will. Irrational hatred of 1,000 suns. I'm from Seattle and any true Seatlite will tell you they hate Starbucks. But you ever drive across the United States? It's miles and miles of dishwater coffee from small diners. It will have you craving to hit any medium-sized town so you can get some Starbucks. So I appreciate it in its place. I should say I hate Olive Garden. Gross. 30 years ago, the Olive Garden was actually a very good place to get some Italian. It was the place to go for dates if you were poor and in your 20s, the chicks really dug it. Then Darden came along. I avoid Buffalo Wild Wings for the intestinal side effects and Applebee's because I can microwave my own food at home and not be charged for it like somebody is actually cooking something back in their kitchen.